What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mr. Scheider's math class. I know you're really excited, and okay, maybe not, but at least try a little bit. Okay, today we're going to be dividing fractions and whole numbers, but before we get into that, we're going to do a quick little lesson on something called reciprocal. Reciprocal. New vocabulary word you guys are going to learn today, and reciprocal is kind of a weird thing. I'm going to try to explain it the best I can. Reciprocal is whatever you multiply something, it makes it 1. So for example, and it's going to sound weird, if you have 1/4, my question is, what would you multiply 1/4 by to make your answer 1? And this right here is a reciprocal. Okay, now this is kind of weird, but what can you multiply 1/4 by that will give us 1 whole? The answer is that right there. Because if you multiply 1 times 4, you get 4, and 4 times 1, you get 4, and 4 over 4 is 1 whole. So if we look right here, if you have 1/4, and I ask you what the reciprocal of 1/4 is, you would say it's 4 over 1, because that's what would give us an answer of 1 whole. Okay? But a little simpler way to look at this would be to say, what is the reciprocal of 1/4? Well, it's just the flipped version of that, which would be 4 over 1. Okay? So real quickly, reciprocal is whatever multiplies by that number that makes it 1 whole. So we showed that right here. But a simpler way to think about it is just flip the number. So if it's 1/4, what's the reciprocal of 1/4? It's 4 over 1. That's what reciprocal is. So let's go through a couple of those together and see if we can figure that out. So the first one we're going to do here is 2/3. What is the reciprocal of 2/3? The reciprocal of 2/3 would be whatever number it takes to multiply it by to give us 1 whole, right? And what would that be? Well, the easy way to find a reciprocal that we just talked about would be to just flip that fraction upside down, and that would be the reciprocal of it. 3 over 2. Now, if that's the reciprocal, then this, if we multiply these together, it should give us 1. Well, let's find out. Well, 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 over 6 is equal to 1 whole. So yes, 3/2 is the reciprocal of 2/3. So it's just about flipping that fraction over. Now, what if I asked you what the reciprocal of, say, 1/5 was? Hopefully now we're getting into this idea that it's just about flipping the number to give us what the reciprocal is. And in this case, the reciprocal of 1/5 is 5 over 1. Now, some of you guys know that if it's an improper fraction, you know you got to divide, and this can be simplified. 5 over 1 is not just 5 over 1. We know that any number with a 1 underneath it is really just that whole number. It's 5. So the reciprocal of 1/5 is 5 in this case. 5 over 1 simplifies to just the whole number 5. The next type of reciprocal that you might have to deal with is, what if I ask you what the reciprocal of a whole number is? For example, 6. What if I ask, what is a reciprocal of 6? And some people might say, well, that's kind of weird because, Mr. Scheider, you just told us that we're supposed to flip the number to find its reciprocal, but you can't flip a 6. Does it make it a 9? No. If we talk about flipping something, we're going to talk in terms of a fraction. So we're going to turn 6 into a fraction real quick by slapping a 1 underneath it, like we do with all whole numbers turning into fractions. And then if we flip that, then the reciprocal of 6 becomes 1/6. Okay? Now this is an important concept to understand, and it's going to take us a little bit of time, so if you're struggling a little bit with it, bear with me. We're going to practice a few problems together because now we're going to divide fractions. And in order to divide fractions, you got to know what reciprocals are. So the first problem we're going to do here is we're going to take 1/2 and we're going to divide it by 2. Now I'm first going to show you visually what this looks like. Let me show you what a 1/2 is. That's a 1/2, right? If I have a whole candy bar here and I cut it down the middle, this is a 1/2. Now, if I were to say, what is a 1/2, this right here, divided by 2, then that means I would just take this piece right here, this 1/2, and cut it in half, right? Divide it by 2. So I'm just going to do that. There you go. Now the question is, how big is this piece then right here? Well, let's just go ahead and fill in the other side just to give us an idea. And you can clearly see that if I took 1/2 of this candy bar and then I cut it in half, that would leave me with this piece right here. And how big is this piece? Well, compared to the whole thing, it's 1/4, so it will be 1/4. So visually, 1/2 divided by 2 gives us 1/4. But how can we make this easier so we don't have to draw it out every time, especially when the numbers get bigger? We can't draw them all. So how can we make this easier? Well, here it is. This is how you divide fractions, and this is cool because it's just like multiplying, one extra step. That reciprocal piece I just told you about. I need you, in order to divide fractions, all you got to do is multiply by the reciprocal. So keep 1/2, and instead of dividing by 2, we're actually going to multiply by whatever this reciprocal is. So I'm just going to go slide right over here. And instead of doing 1/2 divided by 2, I'm going to do 1/2 times, well, what's the reciprocal of 2? Oh, we just discussed that. The reciprocal of 2 would be whatever this is, flipped over. The reciprocal of 2 is 1/2, right? Because 2/1 flips her over to 1/2. So then all I have to do is multiply them, and you end up with 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4. Check it out. Same exact thing I got back here visually, right? The answer is 1/4. All I had to do is flip this guy right here and multiply. That's how you divide fractions. Let's try a couple more. Let's do 1/3 divided by 4. 1/3 divided by 4. This is an awesome opportunity for you guys to pause this video right now. Try it yourself really quick. See if you've got it. And then see if you can compare it to mine. So if you did, welcome back. If not, this is how you do it. 1/3 divided by 4. You can't divide them. So we're going to use a little trick called multiplying by the reciprocal. We're going to take 4 and we're going to flip it. So we're going to make it a fraction real fast, and then we're going to flip it so it's 1/4, and then just multiply it by 1/3. Notice how I'm not flipping the first number. Right? I can only flip that second number. Now if I just multiply through, I'll get 1 times 1 is 1, 3 times 4 is 12, and I know that 1/3 divided by 4 is 1/12. And I could show that visually. It starts to get a little crazy, but I want to show you just so you can see. 1/3 looks like this. Like that's a third of a candy bar, right? A candy bar divided into 3 pieces, that's a third. Now if I divide that by 4 into 4 pieces, that's what I'm talking about right there. Is that size piece right there. That right there, that size piece is a 12th. Because if I divided the rest of this up into pieces, it'll show that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 pieces there, and one of those pieces will be 1/12. So visually there it is again, but more importantly, it's efficient to just flip a second number, right? We call that a reciprocal, and then multiply. And it gives us the right answer. And that's why we do it, because it makes it a lot easier. All right, guys, that's going to do it for our lesson. I need you to go and do a lesson 4. There's 8 questions, I believe, a couple of them about reciprocal and then a couple about multiplying. So do it up. Ask me any questions that you got, and then I'll see you guys in class or again on Tuesday for your next one. See you guys.